All right. So, after the election, Marjorie Taylor Greene opened her pie hole so you can be sure that something horrible came out. And this is what she said. Marjorie Taylor Greene is taking this election as a mandate to attack trans rights. Because that should be the takeaway. That people don't actually care about the economy, they just care about trans rights. Okay. Fresh off her election night victory, anti-LGBTQ plus representative Marjorie Taylor Greene has expressed excitement that she, President-elect Donald Trump, and their MAGA cohorts will no longer tolerate turning our kids trans. Because, as we all know, that's how trans people exist. Someone turns them. Not that they just happen to be trans. No, they get turned. I am so excited, Greene said from Trump's Mar-a-Lago election night party to convicted former Trump advisor Steve Bannon on the Real America's Voice network. America will no longer tolerate this communist regime. I would love for her to define communist for me. Ripping our border wide open. Not happening. Turning our kids trans. Already discussed that. And promoting abortion as reproductive rights. What? Promoting abortion? First off, it is reproductive rights because people need to have an abortion. It's not like, that woman who got sepsis and lost her ability to reproduce, that she didn't need, it wasn't because she needed an abortion that this happened. I mean, seriously, what do these people think an abortion is? Or what reproductive rights means? But then again, she also thinks that religious freedom doesn't include freedom from religion, so there is that too. So yeah, she doesn't understand how laws work, how freedom works. The American people are fed up with a weaponized government. Oh, honey, the only person who weaponized government was Trump, and he's going to do it again. President Trump is going back to the White House. Yay. I have to make my sarcasm a bit more obvious because the last time I said something sarcastic about Trump winning, someone actually took it seriously and happily commented that she voted for Trump with a heart emoji. No, I was being sarcastic. She also claimed that Republicans will have to continue to fight for election integrity because the Democrats will steal elections if they're given the opportunity. Translation, whenever they win, the election was stolen. She and Trump have baselessly claimed that Trump only lost the 2020 election due to an unprecedented nationwide conspiracy of voter fraud that only occurred in the states that Trump lost. Exactly. In the places Trump lost, obviously it was rigged. Now, nobody ever explains how Trump could lose, but somehow, miraculously, other Republicans in that state win. I mean, if it's going to be rigged, it should be completely rigged, not just against Trump. But, these people never cared about logic or consistency. She also said that Trump will pardon the insurrectionists who were jailed for the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. And, first off, before I continue, He said that already. You're not telling us anything that we didn't already know. End the climate change scam. Honey, I was wearing short sleeves in October. I live in north central Wisconsin. Yeah, climate change is real. Just because you don't understand how that or really anything else works doesn't mean it's a scam. Let's see. And go after the people who persecuted Trump and his supporters, including former U.S. Representative Liz Cheney, U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia Matthew Graves, U.S. Representative Benny Gordon Thompson, and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Trump has referred to Pelosi as a sick, crazy bitch and an enemy from within. Alrighty, so that, again, is nothing new. He's already mentioned that he has an enemies list, and he's going to prosecute his enemies. Which, I doubt it's just going to be the court of law. They're probably going to open a gulag, for all we know. Last night, Greene defeated her Democratic challenger, Sean Harris, winning 71.7% of the vote in her deep red district. Greene has repeatedly tried to shut down Congress to stop votes on the Equality Act, a bill to enshrine federal LGBTQ+ anti-discrimination protections. She has introduced legislation to ban gender-affirming care. Careful. You might someday need gender-affirming care. Actually, most women do when they reach menopause. Has voted against marriage equality, there's a shock, and has repeatedly accused LGBTQ+ allies of being pedophiles and groomers. Right. That's why it's the LGBTQ+ community, politicians, Democrats, they're the ones who get caught up in these pedophilia and prostitution rings, some sort of sexting. Yeah, it's always the Democrats that do that, and the LGBTQ+ community. Republicans, that's never happened. All right. In July, Greene spoke at a press conference heralding the start of Bannon's 4-month sentence in the Danbury Federal Correctional Institution today for defying a congressional subpoena investigating his assistance in inciting the January 6, 2021 Capitol riots. But she will lose her shit if a Democrat were to do the same thing. Greene has previously said that an airplane never hit the Pentagon during the September 11th terrorist attacks. Oh yeah, she's a bigger wackaloon than I realized. Claimed that all school shootings are fake. Lovely, lovely person. No wonder she was harassing David Hogg while he was still a child. Just simply because he actually dared to stand up and say that kids like him should be able to go to school without getting shot. Said that California wildfires were started by Jewish-owned space laser, specifically the Rothschilds. She specified the Rothschilds, not just any Jewish family. And accused former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton of slicing off a child's face and wearing it. I'm sorry, was she watching Batwoman when she came up with that one? Because that was a plot in Batwoman on the CW where there was someone who would slice off people's faces and wear them. So yeah, there was a bad guy who did that. Trump has promised to ban gender-affirming care for minors nationwide. Again, that's probably going to come back to bite them in the ass, but and prohibit federal agencies from promoting the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. Okay, so basically a ban for everybody. Because any age, seriously, that suddenly is no longer just minors. So first off, minors need gender affirming care. Because I hate to break it to you guys, but gender affirming care isn't something that just trans people get. Now, I use the example of women who are postmenopausal who need to have hormone replacement therapy as gender affirming care. But there's others. It's not just that. That's just the only thing that comes to mind. So it's not just for trans people. And what is this promoting the concept of sex and gender transition at any age? Nobody is fucking promoting it. Just the fact that you acknowledge something exists is not the same as promotion. I acknowledge murder exists. That doesn't mean I'm fucking promoting it. I mean, give me a break. He has pledged to deny federal funding to schools that push radical gender ideology and other inappropriate sexual or political content on our children. Right. This from a guy who bragged about going into Miss Teen USA pageant's dressing room while the contestants were in various states of undress. Yeah, but he's going to save us from inappropriate sexual content. Right. And political content? Are you fucking kidding me? What is inappropriate? This is just telling me that that he's going to try to prevent anybody from becoming Democrats or becoming an opposition party, whatever ends up happening. That's scary stuff. Because this is the kind of shit that autocrats do in other countries to ban opposition parties. So, no opposition, nobody can take over for him. So, yeah, this is scary shit. Alright, he has also promised to repeal Biden-era protections for LGBTQ plus students on day one. You know, there have been articles making the rounds about people wanting to leave the country. And I know that most people would question, whether they're traitors or how much they love their country, if they're going to run away instead of fight. But if your whole life is in danger, simply because you exist, I don't blame people for wanting to leave the country and go somewhere where it's safer. They're not doing it because they hate the U.S. They don't do it because they don't think that the U.S. is worth fighting for. They're doing it to save their own lives or to save the life of a loved one. So I totally understand it if people want to leave the country. On the last day of Trump's presidency, he pardoned Bannon, who served as chief executive officer of Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Bannon also served as White House chief strategist and senior counselor to Trump from January 2017 until August 18, 2017, when Trump fired him. In August 2020, Bannon was indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly spending $1 million of a $25 million GoFundMe campaign to help Trump construct a U.S.-Mexico border wall. Bannon pleaded not guilty and was set to face trial in May 2021 before Trump pardoned him. God, I hope he doesn't make it back to the White House. It's bad enough we have Trump. Trump initially said the Mexican government would pay for the wall. They never did. Shocking. And Trump only built 458 total miles of barriers, PolitiFact reported. And it doesn't say how much was spent, but I know it was just an ungodly amount. In January 2018, Trump and Bannon's friendship soured after Bannon was quoted in Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury, Inside the Trump White House, as calling the president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, dumb as a brick. And of course, Trump is in love with Ivanka. And calling Trump a crooked business guy and a scumbag. You know, I'm pretty sure that Trump was more upset about what he said about him than what he said about Ivanka. Though at the time he probably was still enamored with Ivanka, so that might have something to do with it. But I'm pretty sure the fact that he attacked Trump was more the reason, because Trump's ego is this thin. I mean, it's a huge ego, but it can be bruised so fucking easy. In response, Trump said in a statement, Steve Bannon has nothing to do with me or my presidency. When he was fired, he not only lost his job, he lost his mind. Adding, Steve had very little to do with our historic victory. Trump later referred to Bannon as Sloppy Steve on Twitter, now X, and claimed that Bannon cried when he got fired and begged for his job back. What the hell is with Trump and men crying? He always shows that to either denote weakness or tough guys who are just so happy for what Trump is doing for them. He's obsessed with crying. What is his deal? Why is he obsessed with people crying? Which, I'm sorry, I'm going to take things that didn't happen for 1,000, because I highly doubt that Bannon cried and begged for his job. I mean, maybe he begged, but I just don't see it. I mean, if he thinks that Trump is a scumbag, he probably was like, okay, fuck off and leave. I mean, why would you cry and beg for your job when you hate your boss? You're not going to do that. People might not even do that if they don't hate their boss. So anyway, that is the end of that article. So that's some fun things to look forward to. So if you're trans, I really hope that you stay safe and you do what you have to do to stay safe. If you feel like that means just moving to a safe state, do that. If you think that leaving the country is what you need to do that. Just do whatever you need to do to stay safe and stay sane, because this is a scary time and people are trying to claim that Trump's incompetence and his ego is going to get in his own way. And I would love to think that just like the first presidency, he could only do so much because he was just too incompetent. He's going to be surrounded by more competent, more evil people. People who aren't going to put guardrails on him. So, yeah. Yeah, we have a right to be afraid. You have a right to be afraid. And like I said, do what you have to do to stay safe. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video.